Welcome to today's episode of Molecules to Medicine podcast. For those of you just joining the podcast, we are AI Jules and we specialize in helping companies scale their business and revenue and explore how AI is reshaping the industry and accelerating innovation. So if you'd like to learn more on how to take your healthcare or life science business to the next level, make sure you stick around. And if you're interested in a free growth consultation, just drop us the word growth in our DMs and we'll get back to you. I am your host, Hardeep, and we have a very exciting guest for you today, Yehuda Daniel Katz, the founder and CEO from RiskRemedy. Yehuda,
Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to be here.
fantastic. And where are you talking to us from today?
Today I'm in New York City, in the heart of it, so just across the pond.
Oh, fantastic. And so tell us, Yehuda, tell us a bit about your background and the journey that led you to RiskRemedy and any pivotal moments or experiences that shaped your career.
Sure. I'll start from college. I studied risk management and insurance, which is something people think is very exciting. I unironically did really enjoy it. I started from there. I worked at two major global insurance brokerages, Willis Towers Watson, now rebranded as WTW, and Alliant. I then led a department at a small consultancy of 10 people, uh, kind of going through insurance and compliance and trying to help people out with claims, which is where that life science interaction is. And today we're building RiskRemedy, which is a document processing platform and risk intelligence kind of layer to it, which allows us to capture the expertise of multiple people and centralize it when somebody's reviewing a document. It's like having the world's experts just helping you out along the way.
Brilliant. So, and what problem does RiskRemedy solve and why does it matter to your customers?
Sure. So there's a few problems that we're addressing. The most important one is the economic force. Insurance in the US as an industry is the oldest industry by median. We have approximately something like 400,000 people out of the 2 million person workforce that are going to be resigning sometime in the next 5 years. It's estimated the majority of those resignations are going to happen around year three. And so these are the people that know how to read policies. They know how to read insurance and the language and the verbiage to it. The problem is that once they leave, the next generation, there's a big gap age-wise, and that's a lot of experience that they just don't have. And the problem with insurance is that there is no open source, there's no Bible for how to do it right. So as soon as these people leave, the next generation that has to come in doesn't know what to refer to. They don't have the attention span. It's a little bit of a knock on my own generation here. But the biggest problem is, how do you review these documents? How do you go through it without having a ballooning operational cost? And so we built RiskRemedy to take and capture this expertise, apply it in back office operations. So yeah.
So then would you go into companies to build this specifically for each individual company? So they have almost like a database now. So are you building these specifically for each individual company?
So we're not building it for individual companies, building it for, like, we have a platform, but our goal with our platform is that you don't even have to use it. The way that we're tackling this is, one, through integrations and with MCPs, where we're able to, for example, a lot of people use Copilot in their Microsoft Outlook, they use ChatGPT, they use Claude. What they can do is they don't have to learn my platform. We connect our platform to them, to their AI chatbots, and they have like a unique database to work with. That makes it easy. That way, they don't have to go and take all this training. But we also kind of integrate, like, we also do integrations. So that's the most customizable part. But the effectively, RiskRemedy is just the engine, and we offer the engine to whoever needs to review the liability.
Okay, so it's standard information within the industry that's built into the system.
Correct.
And just for the viewers, what does MCP stand for?
So I'm going to embarrass myself here. I don't actually know the MCP. I know the way that the what it refers to are these connectors that you'll find in Claude. There's like a section to it, and an MCP is your way of interacting with other pieces of software that are out there. So, for example, if you use Notion to take your notes, Claude can connect with that, and that's an MCP. Claude can connect to your Google Calendar. You could say, "Hey, Claude, I have a date with my wife, with my girlfriend in 3 weeks. Block off this time, and invite her to it." And you could do that through Claude, and Claude will set that up in your Outlook or your email, and then send it out there, as well as any other piece of technology that you're developing. And so one of those will be RiskRemedy as well. You could say, "Hey, Claude, I've got a question for you. What do we typically think about general liability policies or health insurance policies in in this sector of the industry. And so that's the way to interact with it. So I don't know the exact
That's fine.
definition of it.
And can you share any real examples of how customers have used Risk Remedy to achieve meaningful results?
Yes. So if you ever ask my co-founder why I built RiskRemedy, I told people that I want them to go home on a Friday at 3 p.m. and I want them to go and drink rosés. So that was my goal. I tell that to every user, to every person I'm pitching to, because this is like a job that the work that we're tackling is like anybody who's doing it manually is like 8 months behind. So meaningfully, what it does, how it's changed people's lives is that now they're going home. They're going home at normal times. They're working jobs that they actually like. They're also not doing these like repetitive, volume heavy tasks, but instead are actually able to go and divert their time towards something that's meaningful that allows them to grow more in their careers. And that is something that we're getting now from multiple users. We're getting it across clients. Like entire departments are not being sacrificed to go and do these dead end jobs and can actually work on furthering their future.
Uh-huh.
It's mathematically we're seeing people already like there's already a reduction in turnover in the departments that we're targeting because those departments they're unforgiving. The salary is very modest. The your growth I guess trajectory is very limited and nobody wants to stay around for that. And at least now they finally have a way to get out of it. So that's the meaningful way that we can at least help people out with this.
Yeah, saving people time is gold, really, isn't it?
It's
And
it's gold. It's gold. But I feel like it's a lot of the fulfillment as well. I think right now, just as like working in corporations, I've been working in insurance for about 12 years at this point. One of the things that I realize is that a lot of people, they work these jobs, they get nothing from it. They do it because, okay, the most basic thing that it covers are benefits and salaries. And that's fine. Those things are extremely important. But for you to actually be happy, you have to be working on something that you care about. And if you're if you're drowning in all this manual work, you're gonna unless you have a reason to do it, unless you really have something to cling on to, you're just gonna suffer through it. And most people that are working in these big organizations, they're just doing these menial tasks.
I know. And what's the biggest challenge or bottlenecks that you're facing at the moment?
Biggest challenge. Can you repeat that? The biggest challenge that we're
That you're
facing right now, or
facing in terms of, getting your product in front of your clients or the right type of clients?
few problems that we have. One is with the introduction of AI, what used to take, like there's always a complaint that people say with AI, there's a lot of I'm sorry, without AI, to build minuscule features, it just didn't make sense economically. Is somebody going to use it? Will they use it? So it just became kind of like a luxury. But now there, you can build whatever you want. The question is, what do you specifically build? Like, you now have the ability to build whatever you want. It's not going to take you 6 months and a team of 20. It takes one engineer and a weekend now. But how do you strategically value what needs to be processed, right? Because in a world right now, like everybody complains about something and you have to find a way to cut through that noise and build a feature to that. And so sometimes it's just a nice to have versus a need to have. And I think that's the biggest challenge that we're really experiencing at this point. That's just like on the technological front. But I think that's the front, like when you can have everything, what matters?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's I guess it's like I don't know, the philosophical issue here at this
Uh-huh.
point that we're really dealing with.
Okay. And what makes Risk Remedy different from others trying to solve the same problem?
I love this question. We know we're not the smartest in the room. That's the best part. So when we walk into a room, we understand that, like, for example, there are people that have been in the insurance world who have done this for 30 years, 35 years, and they had to do it. There's no easy way through. You had to read those policies. You had to go and build. You had to build a good, sustainable system. You had to be smart. You had to be creative. You had to have your hand in multiple pies to kind of get an understanding of what tastes the best. And when we talked to these people, one of the best approaches that we took was we are not smart. We're not smarter than you. Like we know enough to get us through, like to get us ahead of our age group, but we want to know what you know. And that drove us to understand how do we build something that there is nothing that we can pull it from. It all is stuck in somebody's head. And how do we allow them to kind of express that knowledge and then benefit everybody else? And so what we did with RiskRemedy was we managed to create a certain degree of risk intelligence that is unique to these particular people. And we're now giving that to everybody else. That's a little bit of our moat that we are very we're very proud of. Like our users, for example, they make a decision, they could choose to have it benefit everybody else as a whole. It becomes like a living brain that you could just borrow ideas and interpretations from that Google and Claude are not going to give to you.
Yeah. Hmm.
Mhm.
Great. And where do you see the biggest opportunity for innovation or impact within insurance right now, or with the AI and insurance? And right now, what looking ahead, what excites you the most about the future?
I oh, that's a great one. That's a good one. These are great questions. Okay. The biggest opportunity, insurance has no idea how to use AI at all. This is like, I'll start from this point. A lot of people have always said, this is how we've always done it, and this is how we're going to keep doing it. And before it was like, it was justified, but now it's almost like theological in nature. They don't want to divert from that. And so I gave actually a talk in Chicago a few weeks ago, and I was listening to this guy who's like, he's from the C-suite. He's the head of the digital transformation, getting a massive, massive paycheck. And so his question that he got was, what's your tech stack? What's your AI strategy? And he's like, yeah, so we have a ChatGPT subscription and a Claude subscription. And we're like, it's not really an AI tool. And speaking to the guy afterwards, I was talking to him and I was like, all right, well, you're using Claude, but that's not actually like an AI strategy. Like, how are you modernizing yourselves? And he's like, "Oh, I guess I never really thought about it." And I'm like, "There's so much that you can do with it." And the insurance industry, to answer your question, lacks that creativity. They don't know where AI could be applied. And for the people that have taken the step, like myself and other Insurtech companies that are in that space, they're trying to uh, they're figuring out where AI is not just fun to use, but amazing to use. Like I'll give you a great example of where it's like saving money right now in the just from our own book of business. Hundreds of thousands of dollars were saved because when you take out a loan, you have to purchase a certain amount of insurance. Banks have slowly been increasing the amount of insurance that you have to buy, but it doesn't actually line up with with like the rest of the industry. And so the bank might say, you need to get $50 million more in insurance. The rest of the market's like, nope, this asset class doesn't need that much money. The rest of the banks are not asking that much. This is too, like, you can push back on this because that's extra premium that you have to pay. So we're seeing that kind of creativity really show up now. But insurance needs a little bit more. And I see that as an opportunity for innovation where it really says to itself, yeah, it's more than just a pilot. It's more than some kind of neat gimmick. This is something that can meaningfully impact how much money we're spending and how much more we can make.
It's great. And what stage is Risk Remedy in right now? And what does growth look like for you over the next 12 months?
So I mean, we're already profitable, which is terrific. It's one of the reasons why when we go and we're like speaking to investors, we're always faced with the question now of, do we need it? And the answer most of the time is no. It's just not something that like, because we're not just looking for money anymore. We're looking for what somebody can do for us outside of that, right? Relationship with the startup and an investor has really kind of changed with the introduction of AI. Our growth is we want to be like that core pillar. We want to be that toolkit that every modern insurance professional has. Like you should be able to have that. It should be accessible to you. Like it shouldn't be when you have like a new client coming in, your reaction should be like, oh my God, how are we going to possibly swing this? The question should be like, hey, what tool do I have in my toolkit that's sharp and ready to use that is going to say, hey, it's not even going to impact my time. All right, fine. We've got a new client. We're making more money. Thumbs up. Because right now in the insurance industry, like the insurance industry, you get a new client, you're deep in the red. You're operating at 110% for the last 15 years. You're like, I don't know how much more I could do this. And they're like, guys, we got another client. You're like, I don't know if I should be cheering for this. So I think growth looks for us like we want to be ubiquitous. We want to be inevitable in the insurance industry. And that means being in every brokerage. That means uh, offering the service that is going to ultimately reduce operational costs. I think by at least 10% is the ideal goal for us. But yeah, I mean, we want to stay lean and mean, and we're happy to be able to be in more places than once. We're punching above our weight, and we want to say, where else can we go? What limits do we have today that we feel are like self-imposed that we can break through?
And would you say brokerage, insurance brokers, is the biggest opportunity?
It's not the biggest opportunity. It's the avenue that we're choosing to go with. What we're addressing is really that economic force. If that economic force, by the way, is felt by everybody. You can be an insurance company, you could be an insurance broker, you could be like a third party administrator, which takes on these services that insurance companies and insurance brokers just don't have the manpower to do, right? But we're working with them as well. And we're even working with like lawyers too, that we found were very interested in our tool, which is like, so it works for all of them, but I like focusing on just one type right now, and that's the brokerage.
Okay, great. Well, fantastic. Thank you, Yehuda. Thank you for your time. And where can people learn more about Risk Remedy or get in touch with you and your team?
Sure, you can find us on LinkedIn, just Risk Remedy. You can find me also on LinkedIn, Yehuda Daniel Katz. I have a little bit of Hebrew at the end of the name, so it's hard to miss. And you can also follow my thoughts on the industry. That's not so much Risk Remedy related, but my commentary on adoption of AI in insurance all around the world, and that's on Substack. So Yehuda Daniel Katz over there, and that's it.
Fantastic, Yehuda. Thank you for your time. Very interesting. And wish you all the best.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much, Hardy. Thank you for having me.